What's up, everyone? You're listening to WKNC 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh. We're a student-run nonprofit radio station based out of North Carolina State University. I'm DJ Lucid, and this is Off the Record. Here with me today are the very talented members of the four-piece band Babe Haven. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
What's up? I'm Kat. I play the drums.
I'm Julia. I play bass.
I'm Lily. I am the lead vocalist.
And I'm Naomi, aka Omi, and I am the guitarist.
So where are you all coming from today?
We are now based in Raleigh and Durham.
Okay, well, we appreciate you meeting with us here today at WKNC. You guys have played here in Raleigh before, right? Fairly recently.
Yeah, we've played here a good bit, honestly, because we came from Boone and we had been playing in Raleigh, kind of like feeling out like the venues and everything. And now that we're here, you know, we've been playing a good bit.
Yeah, we try to play in the Triangle area like once a month. So we played at like the Poorhouse, School Kid Records, Local 506, Cat's Cradle, Motor Co.
Where else?
Neptunes, Rubies. Deluxe, Ruby's at 5
Ruby's
Point.
on 5 Points, not Ruby Deluxe.
Sorry,
Not yet.
I get them mixed up.
Yeah.
You guys are covering all your bases. Okay, so one thing I'm always curious about when I'm meeting bands is, what is Babe Haven? What's the origin behind the name?
Actually, I came up with it. This is Lily. We had been brainstorming names for like so long. Naomi and I kind of started thinking of names in like March of 2021, and we didn't really settle on Babe Haven until like June, like the end, or like mid-June, I think. So it took a really long time. But yeah, we had like in our notes app like a bunch of cool words that we liked, and we were trying to like put them all together to see what felt right. So yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Okay, so you guys have been working together for over a couple of years now, is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like 2.5 years.
almost.
Yeah.
So what's the story of how y'all met and decided to come together as a group?
So I wanted to start the band, and originally it was me and my roommate who was the OG, like, other bassist. And I heard that Lily wanted to be in a band, maybe more like, what was it? Because you were talking about it. And I was kind of like, and I was being like very quiet because I was trying to like gauge what kind of music that you wanted to like sing and play. And it was a little bit more on the like lighter, not folkier, but what would you describe it as? Like, I don't know. Like, when we first started as a band, we kind of were going for like bluesy punk.
Well,
That
I
was
wanted to
catering-
like
yeah.
sing,
Yeah.
really. So
Yeah.
I was kind of opposed to, well, not really opposed to, but I think it scared me like screaming, like doing screaming vocals, because I hadn't really done that before, and it's like an entirely different like wheelhouse. It's really hard to do. So I don't know. I just guess I thought that I couldn't do that. So it kind of scared me. But we started getting into it a little bit more and getting heavier and heavier. And I realized that is something that I like to do.
Yeah.
And we're good at it. So
Yeah, when we first started, we were doing like, 'cause we were just doing covers for a bit, like finding our sound. We were doing like all types of stuff. We did like White Stripes. We did
who does
American
Joan
Woman.
Jett.
We did
Joan Jett.
yeah, Joan Jett, Green Day.
We did like,
we
it
did-
was like
we did,
10 cover songs.
10 or 11 covers a show.
Yeah, right.
Because we only had like one song,
Yeah.
or one or two songs.
And we also found Kat through Facebook. Someone like tagged her in a post when we were looking for drummers. Someone tagged her, and she
Yeah.
hadn't even been playing.
It was so random because I had
Yeah.
like not even really been playing drums, but this person knew I had a drum set, and I was like, I could keep rhythm. I was like, I guess I'll try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 days later we met, practiced for the first time, and 5 days later we played our first show.
Yeah.
Just doing like
Yeah.
Wow.
covers.
And then Julia comes in the picture like 6 months, honestly, kind of almost like 6, 7, 8 months ago. We had two previous
I
bassists
only
before.
just joined the band in probably like
End of May.
end of May-ish of this year. And I was playing in another band, and we just met through the scene. Like we all knew each other, and they were looking for a new bassist, and I just said I'll join. or I came in for a couple shows, and then I kind of joined more permanently.
So How does your writing process usually go? Would you describe it as a collaborative effort or more a divided process?
I'd say it's collaborative. I would say more lately, it's been starting with like a guitar riff. Like Naomi will come up with something as of late, like our last couple of songs, and then we'll kind of go from there. We'll like all kind of come up with our ideas and work on them, or like come together at practice and then kind of put everything together a little bit.
I feel like we kind of bounce ideas. Like once we're together, like I don't know, we all contribute to different things that kind of make it all come together as one.
So you would say like part focuses on instrumental, part focuses on lyricism, kind of like that.
Yeah. And also, too, if there's a specific kind of message we want to get across, or if, like, Lily's like, I want to sing about this, then I'll try to develop a kind of vibe with what I'm playing on the guitar to kind of match that.
Naomi's the riff master.
Sweet. Thanks.
So even though you all met and formed together as a band just a few years ago, how long have you all been making music in general?
I've been playing music for probably like 6 years now. Just doing like different types of music and like
You play the guitar, you play the piano, you play the drums, you sing. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. And then but I hadn't actually played in like an actual like band that really did very much ever until Babe Haven.
Yeah, I also like I never really played music until a couple years ago. I like didn't even know how to play guitar or anything until like in college. I just thought it was something interesting and I picked it up and we were lucky. We were originally from Boone, which has a pretty big music scene, so I was pretty lucky to like be surrounded by other musicians and get to learn from them and play in other bands and just kind of develop a skill in the sound. But it was never something I thought I would be doing for sure. Like if you told me 5 years ago I'd be in this band, I would be really shocked. I'd be like, I can't even play guitar. So
I definitely, like Naomi said earlier, I've always wanted to be in a band. My dad is in a band and he has like sang and played guitar since he was like a teenager pretty much. Like he used to have this fan club in his high school. It was like the Christmas fan club and girls made like t-shirts and stuff. It was this whole thing. But so I've just always known, I've always been like part of the scene, you know? Like been in and out of like bars and like local venues and stuff with my dad. So I kind of just always, I guess subconsciously wanted to do that anyway. So I'm happy that I finally got an opportunity to actually do that because I've always been really shy my whole life as well. So this definitely brought me out of my shell.
Retweet with that. I'm like literally so socially awkward and shy and like, I don't know, like it is also crazy because if I were to look back from like a couple years ago, I would literally be like laughing and like pissing myself. But I like, just as a kid, I just like messed around on the keys and that was kind of it. And I went to college, bought a uke because every college kid buys a uke. And then it wasn't until like COVID hit and I started learning the guitar like in 2020. So yeah, after playing the guitar for like a year, I was like, okay, I'm ready to start a band. And that's kind of my experience with that either. But I was very much in the DIY scene as well in Boone and just going to shows a lot and kind of got, what's the word? Inspired. Yes, because there were no other like femme bands. There were no, like there would be like a femme fronted singer, sure, but there was never like an all queer like girl band that I ever really saw before. So.
Yeah, a lot of all male jam bands where we come from, and
Yes.
we wanted to change that.
White.
Yeah.
White.
Well, that's crazy that you guys are talking about being shy and like socially awkward, and that doesn't reflect at all in your music.
Good.
Yeah, I think we all have a bit of like our personas on stage, and then it's a little different in our real lives. But that's fun.
I agree.
Big outlet
Yes.
for sure. It's like,
Performing
Yeah.
is like a whole different thing than like having to talk or like be, no, I wouldn't say be yourself, but just like talk to like you or a room of people. But getting to like perform, especially with like the rest of Babe Haven, it feels like we're like working together. And it's not just like you on stage, so that definitely makes it a lot less intimidating.
Yeah, it's like an entity for sure. I know I like build like I'll have like any pent up like angst or like just anything, and I just let it out on stage. I'm like
Yeah.
looking at the audience like I'm possessed or something. Like
So you're all from Boone, is that right?
Not originally. I think
Yeah.
none of
Not
us.
original.
We all kind of went to school there or came there from other places. But we all lived there for like a good chunk of time, like 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh, you all have like a connection to Boone.
Yeah.
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 So what brought you here to North Carolina?
God, that's such a long story. Somebody else say theirs first.
yeah, Jules and I are both from Raleigh.
Yeah.
Like we grew up here, and then I moved to Boone just kind of like on a whim. It wasn't like for school, but I did end up going to App. But I just kind of like at the time was like needing a break, and I was just like mountains, woo. So that's how that happened.
Yeah. It for me, like, I went to Boone to go to App State. And then it just kind of worked out that the 3 of them were planning on moving to the Triangle area, and then I was also planning on returning home just because I graduated. So it just kind of worked out that we were all happened to be moving back here.
Yeah, I went to school up in Appalachian State. It was like between NC State and Chapel Hill, and like just the mountains, you can't really beat the aesthetics of that and just the vibe as a whole. So that's why I was in Boone, kind of stuck there for a couple years after I graduated.
I just moved up to Boone because I wanted to. I'm from Florida. And I actually went to school at FIU in Miami for a while. So that's what I was doing. And then long story short, I had a crazy mental breakdown. And I just came up to Boone, like to visit pretty much because I needed to get away. Low-key kind of ran away up to Boone. And then I decided that's where I wanted to live. So it took a couple years to like plan to like move up to Boone eventually because I knew for some reason that is where I needed to live. I don't really know why. I just felt really pulled to be there.
Boone will do that to you.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. So I can thank my mental health issues.
I feel like there's a lot of songs in that.
Absolutely.
Well, your music style has a very unique sound, and you're very influenced by the 90s Riot Girl movement, right?
Definitely.
Yes.
But honestly, it still sounds so modern, like 21st century formulated. How would you guys personally describe your sound?
Well, we call it riot punk. So it is definitely like branched off of Riot Girl, I would say, but I wouldn't say that we are a Riot Girl band. A lot of people do call us a Riot Girl band.
I think because we're all girls.
Probably because
Yeah,
we're all
probably
girls. There are a lot of like all girl or all queer bands that people just call Riot Girl just
Right.
because. Well, we definitely have a lot of Riot Girl influence, but we like to take from a lot of different sources. So definitely riot punk is like a good like umbrella term for us.
Yeah, I
So-
definitely feel like we take a lot of elements of like different types of music and genres and just kind of mesh it all together and like mesh it in like with our like I feel like a lot of our personalities like show through too. It's very playful and like
Riot inducing.
riot inducing. Yeah.
Are there any notable influences that you guys feel really inspired by when it comes to your sound or your lyrics or your style?
The band with the first word, Mannequin, their lead singer is Missy. Anyway, I personally draw a lot of influence from them. I don't know about you guys, other bands.
Yeah, I feel like we take some influence from, the Riot Girl, and then like Bikini Kill we really like, but then also some more punk bands.
It depends. For like our album, that was like one thing, but with like our new EP that we're like trying to like write, I'm getting more inspired by more of like the, not necessarily like new metal, I guess, kind of era. So like System of a Down, maybe like Deftones or like something like Korn or even like Kitty. Like that's where like I'm trying to get some
Kitty.
inspiration from for this like new project that we're trying to work on. But There's just so many like grungy riot girl bands that we've got a lot of inspiration from.
And
Like
hardcore.
L7, like L7.
Oh, L7's a big
For
one
sure.
for my
Yeah. There's just so much to
Um,
think of. I
I
don't
think there are a lot of
Yeah.
there are a lot of queer and like femme hardcore bands that we really like as well. Or we like take inspiration from their breakdowns a lot. Like Zertse in Boston, that's like
Yeah.
a hardcore band that we really, really like. Oh god, I keep
Jive
her so
Bomb,
badly.
Gel.
Jive Bomb,
Scowl.
yeah, Gel, Scowl. God, there's another one, Gouge Away. Yeah.
So, Naomi and Lily, you guys were the first two official members of Babe Haven, right?
Yes.
Technically, there
I
was
guess you were the
another member.
Choice.
Don't remind me. Technically, there was another member before me. Yeah, she was Naomi's roommate, like I said
Ashley.
before, Ashley. And she played guitar at first, so she was like secondary rhythm guitar, but then she picked up the bass. So we didn't even have a bass at first. But also, we were really new. We didn't really know.
Yeah.
We didn't really know anything, which is okay. We all started there, and then we grew together, so it ended up being fine. But yeah, third member.
So, you guys were talking about when you first started, your sound was a little different. How do you think that's changed as you've expanded your band?
I think, well,
Yeah.
I think that we just kind of learned more about, like we kind of knew what direction we wanted to go in, right? I would say we just
Think
didn't
so.
have the tools to like be there the way we wanted to in the beginning. So we just we had to learn how to get there, which was hard. It took a while.
I was low key pushing your comfort zone.
It
Because you
was.
didn't think that you had the capacity to scream
Well, it's really
and
hard.
stuff, and you wanted to be a little lighter, and you're like, no, I can't do it. And then like seeing more shows with other artists in that more like punk sound, then I think kind of gave you more of like inspiration
There were definitely a
and
lot of
courage to do that.
bands and like front people that inspired me a lot, because then I guess I just didn't think that I could really do that, but there are people that gave me like the confidence to learn to get heavier. I'm glad that we did, and now we're at like a place where we can like grow from where we even are now to we're like comfortable doing that.
Well, a lot of your songs have been released fairly recently. You guys just came out with your latest album, Uppercut, in May. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay!
So, what was the main inspiration behind the album?
Punch a pervert.
Punch a pervert. Well, there are a lot of different keywords that we like to use to describe that album. It's like, well, every time we're about to play Uppercut, I'm like, this is when about punching pervert at the bar, so if you see any perverts at the bar, you know what to do. But it's like silly kind of. It's very angry, but it's not too serious. Like I said playful before, but it's like we're gonna make fun of you in a way that's like funny to
satirical,
us.
too.
Like,
Satirical, right?
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think too, like it was the album kind of showcases kind of like what we're about. Like yes, we're like funny and silly. We sing about Slim Jims and like just growing up, but then also like what we're about, like singing about being like a minority, and like my song, just singing about being a femme artist in the male-dominated scene. Just being like a female and just being really pissed off with what's going on around us and what we have to face.
I think it's a good intro album for us, and like what like we wanted to like introduce ourselves and the things that we stand for, pretty much.
Well, do you have any upcoming projects or albums in the works?
We're working on an EP.
Hopefully it's gonna be maybe like 4 or 5 tracks. We have Bubble Guts,
That's one that we've
which
just
is about
finished. What words can I say?
which is about
Wow.
pooping yourselves when you're feeling anxious, kind of.
Or well, yeah, I guess yes. Or it's like
And that feeling in your tummy.
Yeah.
You're like,
It's anxious.
Yeah.
I think a lot of girls can relate to the stomach issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No tummies.
Yeah.
tummy hoyle.
That's good.
Feelings. Okay?
Yeah, feelings. And I think, like I kind of touched on before, definitely kind of more a little bit on like the heavier route. That's just like the inspiration I think of like what we're like getting. Because I feel like doing a full-length album of something that's very like heavy can just be a lot, and it can kind of be like one-dimensional in a sense. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's what we might be going for.
Heavier, harder, faster. Kind of. Kind of.
Well, I'm excited to hear it. And I think on that note, we're going to take a short break to play all one of Babe Haven's songs from their new album Uppercut called Lauren. We'll be back with more conversation after. You just heard Lauren by Babe Haven, super chaotic, super raw, but you guys have a couple of slow songs too. You have a lot of range.
Yeah, I feel like it's important to have that kind of like dimension.
Have you kind of moved from doing slow songs to just kind of, your album Uppercut was more chaotic?
Our first EP is like, we always cringe when we listened to it because we'd only been a band for like 3 months and then we just kind of like released it. But I feel like that is what has a lot more of the like slower stuff. Ever since then, I don't really think we've like done
Return to that.
return to that really. Which I still think like some of those are like kind of classic in a way, but it's like I think we just like really found our sound, and it is just more like I think chaotic and like fast paced, but I do think it's good to have like that range, you know. And yeah, I mean maybe there will be like little slow bits or like a nice little sweet song or something.
CP is like the idea that we had was good. We were also really new, so it was just very poorly executed. But like now we're still a baby band. Like we're only like 2 years old, so we're like, I feel like we just want to show people like our sound right now, so that's why we're like kind of chaotic. But I like what we're doing. I just think when we do like a slower, more chill song in the future or near future, it'll be better,
More complex.
yes,
Yeah.
it will definitely be executed a lot better, hopefully.
So now we got to talk about your performances. You guys just recently went on tour to a bunch of places. Where did you hit?
Right.
We were in Florida. It was Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, St. Pete, and then we went up to Atlanta, and then Asheville, and
DC.
did I miss any? Oh, DC. That was our tour with, we were opening for Matt and Kim.
Yeah, and how was it?
They're so cool.
They're awesome.
It was
Yeah.
crazy. Every single night.
It was like the most professional thing that we've ever done. So that really threw us for a loop for a bit. But we, you know what, we didn't do too bad. Like getting used to that.
We like played before we went on tour. We played at Ruby's at 5 Points in Durham in front of like maybe 20, 30 people. And then for our next show to be like
lit.
1,600 people.
Yeah. Then, like,
nuts.
2
It was
nights
insane.
later.
Nuts.
It was
So
crazy.
silly.
It was crazy.
And on the VIP access, we got our riders, we got tequila, we got a bunch of alcohol, but we didn't like, we're not those type of people that like go out and go crazy and like drink really like that. Like just to make
We
that
got
clear.
tequila and a bunch of alcohol, but we didn't do that.
And also vegetable plates and
Yes,
fruits
yeah.
and hummus.
Deli
Chips
meats.
and stuff.
Bread.
It's
a
so
lot of
crazy
bread,
to like
so
have
much
someone bust down your like gear and like help you like
Oh, I
set things
know.
that we got
Yeah,
spoiled. We're
People
like,
helped us load in.
whoa.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Matt and Kim were super nice. They were like the nicest
They're
people
awesome.
ever. Yeah, they were super kind to us and supportive. Yeah, we really love
Yeah.
them.
That sounds great. Do you guys tend to practice any band rituals before you go on for a performance?
We always, contrary to what Naomi just said, we always have a tequila shot together before we go on.
Yeah, we
so,
can do that.
which I think is an important ritual. Like you have your thing that you have to do. Like we have a little huddle, and we're like, well, when we actually remember to do it,
Yeah.
we're like, baby, even I know. Baby, even
Sometimes we'll put our hands in. Be
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes we
just go
forget.
fire, fire, fire.
I think we like
Fire.
used to try to do like a little pep talk where I each had someone like say something nice, but
Oh,
that kind of
yeah.
like fell through really fast. I
We-
think it's a lot to
yeah.
remember before their show.
It's hard. Sometimes, especially on like the big tour, it was more like we were trying to get our bearings. Like, so we were kind of frantic. Sometimes we would like forget to like huddle before shows, you know?
Mhm.
So we're like, oh my God, where's everybody?
Yeah.
Should I
In the bathroom.
like texting the group
Like,
chat,
text, like,
get to
meet
the stage
here
now,
at-
like,
Yeah.
So it was hard, but we tried to like
Yeah.
talk beforehand and be like, let's go.
So, why don't you guys tell us the story of your first live performances?
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly,
wait, our first show ever. Well, our first show when Kat joined our band, like she said, like 5 days before we played that show, so we were just kind of like, screw it, we're gonna play a show because we want to play a show, even though we did play once again like 11 covers and our song Bad Witch, and that was it. Naomi had taken shrooms, I think, beforehand.
I was
Because she
trying
thought
to
it would make her like Jimi
microdose.
Hendrix.
Yeah.
She was like,
She turned around the whole time and just like
she was
back to the.
facing the crowd the whole time. We played
Okay.
at like 5
I
p.m.
was shy.
I was shy as hell too. I was shy.
It was like a puppet was controlling my arms for the most
And,
part, but I
we
was
couldn't
still.
even. I was reading all the lyrics off my phone. I stood in one place. I was so scared. I almost threw up before, I think. But Kat, we played Bad Reputation. Kat was like, "That's too fast for me." Like,
Yeah.
and, like, we were like,
Right.
we were scared, but we did it though.
Yeah, we did.
It was in front of our friends, which was like nice. It wasn't like at a bar venue
was
where like
a-
there was a bunch of
Just
strangers.
like a barn.
It was just like a little fest,
Like,
like,
see people.
yeah, like on a
Ooh.
But
property.
then we should like
and-
mention FemFest.
Yeah, so well, it's funny because one of their first shows. So I was actually in another band at the time, a different girl band, but we both played this show together, FemFest, which was like all of the three fem bands in Boone, and yeah, we were all there that night, and that was all some of our first shows. It was my first show ever, but it was like a house show, and it was like 300 or 400 people. It was crazy. I don't know. It was a really good time, and we both my old band and Babe Haven were playing there. And there's some
Crazy.
pictures of us like where I'm accidentally in the background with the three of them in it,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of funny how things worked out.
Yeah, it was crazy because it was like our third show ever, and it was your
It was my
band's first show ever,
yeah.
and it was
Crazy's,
like
like, fourth
hundreds of
first show
people,
ever.
like an
And there was, like,
iconic,
yeah.
like
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Everyone was just
one for the
so
books.
Excited that
Never
there
seen
were like
anything like that.
because
Not in Boone.
yeah,
Fem
when's the last
takeover.
time that there was ever like a fem fest like that in that area where all these new like fem punk adjacent bands like were playing together. It was kind of crazy. So it was like a
Yeah.
whole thing, historic moment.
Yes.
Speaking of that, a common theme in a lot of your songs is misogyny, sexism, a lot of
Yep.
personalized stories.
Definitely.
Do you guys feel that these messages in your sound have made it difficult to grow in the music scene, or maybe the opposite?
I think it's been good because I think I think a lot of people really enjoy that, and a lot of girls and femme people like want to hear that sort of stuff, and queer people as well definitely want to they want to hear that. It's I think it's very popular now, and I think it's definitely helped us more than harmed us. Obviously, there's people who are gonna say things that are negative, but I don't know. I think it's definitely helped the band and the name grow. Sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think like maybe at first, and just being in Boone where it was like very like male dominated, like small scene, there was a good bit of that at first, but I think in the long run it's it hasn't. I mean, there's always going to be like misogyny when it's like an all girl band. Like we still deal with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
but like
dude.
yeah, but I think in the like there are a lot of people that really appreciate what we are. And
Even like our Instagram followers, I think I just checked it the other day, so I know this is accurate. We have like our followers are like 60% women and like 40% men. Well, I know that's like very vague also because not everyone
the
falls under that
binary,
category, but that's like the stats that we see on our Instagram, which kind of surprised me actually. I didn't really think that there are a lot of like dudes that wear our shirts all the time that don't seem like they would really be into the sort of thing that we stand for, but I mean obviously they are, so it's pretty cool.
So how has being an all-female feminist band influenced the feedback that you get about your music in general?
I think sometimes people can be surprised. Like they'll be like, "Oh wow, like that was actually good." Like
It's the
that's
actually
something-
for
yeah,
me.
it's like the actually.
It's the backhanded compliment.
yeah,
All the time.
Yeah.
that actually wasn't that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay, we played a few weeks ago. This is when I wish you were there, Julia.
In
We had a
Greenville?
fill-in bassist who is really great. Her name is Grace, and she's in a band called Cosmic Twink in Charlotte. Anyway, she's filling in on bass for us. We played in Greenville, South Carolina, and so many things happened that night that were just like, we kept looking at each other like, what is happening with the men here? What's in the water? Like,
Fever
I don't know.
dream.
But first of all, we got there and the sound tech was just off the bat was like, oh God, We were like, hi, we're Baby Haven. Like, what's your name? He was like, bye, like didn't really help us with anything. He kept on like kind of low-key insulting us. But Naomi was like, there was like this closet off to the right of the stage, and she was like, called it a green room, just like slipped off the tongue or whatever. It's not a big deal, like who cares? And Naomi was like, oh, can we like put all our equipment in this green room? He's like, that's a closet, not a green room. Walked away. We're like, very cool. And after the show, the man, like this man that like we were saying before, this man was like holding us at the bar for so long, talking about how he didn't think we were going to be good at all. He was really surprised and like, good job, you guys. I thought you were just a bunch of girls that were just going to be making noise, but you're not. You're actually good. Like I like you didn't look like you would be, but
Like I can actually sit through this. It was like
It was like, it's like a movie that like you don't really
You don't wanna
watch,
like.
but like you're kind of almost like embarrassed that like you actually are kind of enjoying it. He like stated that like 3 times.
Like he wanted us to know that he doesn't usually like girl bands. But like you guys are different, It was very much we get that sort of thing.
And even a
lot.
girl, who was it? Not even at the same show, but a girl was like, I don't even
Oh.
like.
I don't like female
Yeah, I don't even
singers
like-
I was
usually.
there for that. Yeah.
It's like what?
And when I was in the bathroom at that show, I was like, said because I just like to talk a lot all the time. I was in the stall talking to the girls that were in line outside because I like to do that. And I was like, the men are here are so weird. And one of the girls was like, well, I think you guys are weird. I was like, oh. I was like, well, yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. Like, we
It's
are.
good to be weird.
But
Yeah.
that's not what I'm, the kind of weird that I'm talking about. So,
Right.
Yeah, what is strange? We have a lot of strange interactions with people.
It's interesting. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
Definitely. You have to, we just like laugh usually afterwards.
Just gotta brush it
We're
off your shoulder.
Yeah,
Like
It's-
that was silly.
It's no big because usually it's a guy who's angry and it's like, well, who's on stage?
Personal issues. Yeah. Who's on stage right now?
Who'd you pay to
exactly.
see? Oh. Yeah, right.
Give us your money.
Yeah.
Well, what's next for Babe Haven? What's the dream?
Hopefully a lot. What's next?
Yeah.
Another tour.
More tours.
It's the dream.
Ideally,
Next
another
year.
tour. Yeah,
Definitely.
we want to tour again.
Near
You got
future.
West.
Out
Ish,
west,
yeah.
ideally, that would be a dream.
We would love to. We're really hoping this year or next year to get invited to play South by Southwest in Texas. So that's definitely like something that we would like to happen in the near future. Like more touring, playing in places we haven't played in yet, or places that we have, like, but only a little, like Philly again, or like
Yeah. Philly is like, it riots.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Cleveland.
Philly's
Yeah.
great.
Cleveland
Ohio.
was amazing.
Ohio, Cleveland, for sure.
They were cool there.
But yeah, definitely just want to keep doing what we're doing and getting better at it.
Sure.
Growing,
Put out more music.
definitely.
Love to hear that. So, is there anything else that you guys want to say or tell the audience before we close off?
Our Instagram is at Babehaven Band. And that's where all of our handles, I think, for social media
A lot of updates
are.
on there.
And we are on Spotify and Apple Music if you want to give us a listen.
We have some stuff on YouTube, but
And
choose
YouTube.
wisely.
We do have some stuff on YouTube. But yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in and talk to me.
Of course.
Thank you for
Of course,
inviting
thank
us.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and you can check out the interviews I do with other local artists at wknc.org/podcasts by clicking on Off the Record. I'm DJ Lucid, this is Off the Record, and you were just listening to Babe Haven on WKNC 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh. I'm going to send y'all off with one more song by our new friends called Kung Pao that you can check out on all streaming platforms. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch y'all next time.